The craziest part about what happened after the NASCAR All-Star Race at Dover wasn't just that Denny Hamlin walked away with $1 million. It's that the entire NASCAR world immediately stopped talking about the race itself and started talking about what Hamlin allegedly said to Chase Briscoe after the checkered flag. Because according to Briscoe, after fighting side by side for one of the biggest wins of the season, his own teammate allegedly told him he still wasn't Cup Series level. And honestly, if that's true, this could turn into one of the most uncomfortable situations inside Joe Gibbs Racing all year long. Man, I don't know about you guys, but it seriously feels like the tension inside NASCAR is starting to hit another level right now. Because after everything that went down at Dover, we may have just witnessed two stories that could completely change the conversation around this season moving forward. One of them involves that explosive post-race moment that already has NASCAR fans completely divided online. And the other shows just how chaotic, emotional, and completely unpredictable this all-star race became from start to finish. Big names wrecking out, drivers frustrated, strategies completely falling apart, and one superstar surviving absolute madness to leave Dover with $1 million payday. This whole race felt like one of those nights NASCAR fans are going to argue about all week long. And if you love NASCAR drama, emotional moments, real fan reactions, and daily NASCAR coverage, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Nation News. We're still growing fast, trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, this community is becoming something really special. What started as a breakthrough night for Chase Briscoe ended up becoming one of the most controversial moments we've seen all season inside Joe Gibbs Racing. Because after Denny Hamlin won the NASCAR All-Star Race at Dover Motor Speedway, the conversation instantly stopped being about the victory itself. Instead, everyone started focusing on what allegedly happened between Hamlin and Briscoe after the race ended. And honestly, if these comments are real, things could get ugly fast. Now here's what makes this situation even crazier. Chase Briscoe didn't just randomly steal a second-place finish. He was legitimately one of the fastest cars on the track all night long. He led multiple portions of the race. He battled Hamlin head-to-head for the lead. And at several moments, it honestly looked like Briscoe might pull off the biggest win of his entire Cup Series career. That's why this whole thing hit so differently afterward. Because after the race, Briscoe actually praised his Joe Gibbs Racing team for rebuilding his car after he slammed the wall during practice earlier in the weekend. He admitted the team basically had to reconstruct the entire car, and somehow, they still gave him a machine capable of fighting for $1 million. And that wasn't even the only thing Briscoe was battling. He also revealed he'd been dealing with a stomach bug for the last 2 or 3 days leading into the race. So physically, he already wasn't feeling 100%. Yet despite all of that, he still nearly beat one of the best short track and concrete track drivers NASCAR has seen in this era. That alone earned Briscoe a ton of respect from fans Sunday night. But then came the moment that completely changed the tone. According to Briscoe, after the race ended, he walked over to congratulate Denny Hamlin. Pretty standard stuff between teammates after battling for a huge win. But Briscoe claims Hamlin responded by telling him he was still not Cup Series level. And when Briscoe repeated that comment to reporters outside the No. 19 hauler, you could tell he was genuinely furious. He didn't call it emotional. He didn't call it misunderstood trash talk. He called it classless. And honestly, you can understand why NASCAR fans instantly exploded online after hearing that. Because these aren't random drivers from different organizations. These are teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing. Drivers who are supposed to represent the same organization every single weekend. Briscoe basically made it clear he wasn't asking for praise. He wasn't asking Hamlin to hand him respect just because he finished second. But after battling side by side for $1 million and proving he belonged at the front all night long, he clearly felt disrespected hearing his own teammate try to diminish him afterward. And if you watched the race, Briscoe absolutely backed up his performance. He admitted that late in the race, he just didn't quite have enough rear grip to fully defend against Hamlin on the longer runs. Every time he grabbed the lead, the car started getting too loose underneath him, and eventually, Hamlin's experience and long-run speed took over with less than 30 laps remaining. But that's the important part here. Briscoe wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't completely outclassed. He legitimately fought one of the toughest veterans in the garage all night long. Meanwhile, Denny Hamlin stayed pretty calm when reporters asked him about the accusations afterward. But here's what made fans react even harder. Hamlin never directly denied saying it. Instead, he mostly brushed everything off by saying emotions run high after races, and that both drivers raced hard all night. That response alone made the NASCAR world go crazy online. Some fans immediately defended Hamlin, saying this is just who Denny has always been. Ultra-competitive, ruthless, mentally aggressive. The type of driver willing to say almost anything to maintain psychological control inside the garage. But a lot of other fans felt the alleged comment crossed the line completely, especially toward a teammate who nearly helped Joe Gibbs Racing pull off a 1-2 finish. And let's be honest here, Joe Gibbs Racing has already been under pressure this season. The younger drivers are trying to establish themselves, while veterans like Hamlin still dominate most of the spotlight inside that organization. So now everybody's wondering the same thing. Is there real tension building inside Joe Gibbs Racing? Because this didn't feel like normal racing frustration anymore. It felt personal. And while all of this drama was happening, the race itself was absolute chaos from beginning to end. Denny Hamlin admitted after the race that having an incredibly fast car definitely made life easier. But he also praised the race format because traffic and the invert created major challenges throughout the night. Hamlin explained that long-run speed eventually became the difference maker, especially once drivers started getting trapped in dirty air and heavy traffic. He even joked afterward that he'd probably give the $1 million prize money to his mom, which honestly became one of the lighter moments after such an intense race. But for a lot of other drivers, Dover was brutal. Chase Elliott never even advanced out of the first segment after getting caught in multiple crashes during the chaotic early action. Elliott admitted afterward he didn't even know what the correct strategy was anymore, because the race basically turned into survival mode. He described cars sliding down the banking everywhere once the wrecks started happening. Ross Chastain also failed to advance after damage destroyed the front clip on his No One Bush Light Chevrolet. Chastain sounded frustrated, but he also believed Trackhouse Racing showed some improvement compared to recent weeks, especially with the current downforce package. John Hunter Nemechek had one of the most heartbreaking exits of the night. He said his team fought all weekend to recover speed, and he actually felt competitive during the race before getting collected in another massive wreck after Riley Herbst either got loose or got turned on the front stretch. Nemechek admitted it was painful because they genuinely had a shot to start on the pole for the second segment before ending up destroyed in the garage instead. Ryan Preece also had a terrible night after finishing 36th. He took another massive hit and admitted afterward he still wasn't completely sure what triggered the incident entering Turn 1. Preece even apologized if the wreck was his fault, which honestly says a lot about how emotional and chaotic this entire race became for everyone involved. And that's why Sunday night at Dover feels bigger than just another exhibition race. You had aggressive racing, destroyed cars, drivers openly frustrated, veterans and younger stars clashing emotionally, and now potentially serious tension developing inside one of NASCAR's biggest organizations. That's the kind of stuff fans remember deep into the season, because whether people love Denny Hamlin or absolutely can't stand him, moments like this always keep him at the center of NASCAR conversation. And for Chase Briscoe, this honestly may become a turning point moment in his career, because fans saw him battle at the front, handle himself emotionally afterward, and prove he belongs in high-pressure moments against the best drivers in the sport. Now the big question becomes, what happens next inside Joe Gibbs Racing? Do Hamlin and Briscoe move on immediately and focus on winning races? Or does this slowly turn into one of those rivalries that keeps building week after week until something finally explodes later in the season?